Thank you, Rhonda, and good afternoon. My name is Terry Colley. I am the Deputy Executive Director of the Texas Historical Commission. We're the state agency for historic preservation. With me this afternoon is my wife, Jennifer, and daughter, Kate, over here to the side. Glad to have them. Thank you. I bring you greetings this afternoon from Mark Wolf, our Executive Director, and the 17 governor-appointed members of the Texas Historical Commission who are from all across our state. Today, we dedicate this historical marker to Andrew Lee Brock, who, as you know, was the Tennessee native who came to Caldwell County in 1848 and helped make it what it is today. This marker joins 13,000 historical markers that have been placed all over Texas in the last 50 years that tell the real story of the real places of Texas. Did you know that half of the markers that we have placed are on houses of one type or another, much like the Brock log cabin? There are also hundreds of markers on commercial buildings, on churches, on schools, and courthouses like you have. There are even a few markers that are on bridges, a marker on a football stadium, and for you that are into ranching, we marked a water trough and a dipping vat. How about that? So what makes the Andrew Lee Brock marker so special today? Well, it is because that it tells the story about a real person who lived in a real log cabin here in Caldwell County. And guess what? We don't have to imagine what that cabin looked like. We can see it, we can touch it, someday we'll be able to touch it, and someday we will be able to visit it and see how the Brock family lived so many years ago. That is real history. It's not made up history like Disneyland. No, this is the real thing that you have here in Lockhart. Your city is fortunate to have the real story, the real log cabin. Now let me tell you what could happen here in the not too distant future. When this log cabin is restored and opened as a museum, it will greatly enhance the story you are telling about Lockhart. Now right now, just right over there, you can almost see it but for the tree, you have what many would consider the best, if not one of the best, restored courthouses in our state. When we were appointing our we were urging our legislators to establish the Texas Historic Courthouse Preservation Program, we pointed them to Lockhart. We said, go look at Caldwell County and see what they have already done to their courthouse. That's what we need to do in other counties all across Texas. And you were just 20 miles away. They could come over, they could look at it, they could touch it, and they knew that it was real. Right now, you have a courthouse square that is lined with historically significant commercial buildings. Many of those buildings, I understand, have a connection to Andrew Lee Brock. Right now, you have street after street after street lined with historic homes. Some of those, I'll tell you what, I see a lot of historic homes. I do a lot of travel, you can ask my wife, and I see lots of historic homes, none better than you see here in Lockhart. So you're already telling a great story about your city, but it's not complete. You got it down pretty well from, say, the 1870s forward, but what happened before that? How did Caldwell County get settled? What do we have that we can tell people about that would give them, those visitors who come to your city, those children who live here in the city, what do we have that could tell that part of the story? There it is. It's right there. The cabin is right here. It's the missing piece, you might say. Let's talk a minute about visitors, people who travel to Lockhart to visit historic sites and museums. Do you know what they're looking for? They're looking for authenticity. They want to know that a historic resource is real for just the reasons that I mentioned a moment ago. Do you have historic resources that are real? I just listed a whole bunch of them. They want good places to eat. Duh, we're in the barbecue capital of Texas, for goodness sakes. They want places to shop just like you have right over on your courthouse square. And all the time that they're visiting these historic sites and eating at your restaurants and spending money at these shops that are there on the courthouse square, they're loving your community. They're developing a relationship with it, and they'll come back. And you know what happens when they come back? They spend more money. And we like that, especially our city friends like that when it comes to sales tax. So, what can keep them here longer? We know that the historic traveler spends more money than the average visitor who comes. They're better educated, they will stay longer, and if you can keep them here longer, they will spend more money. If you can expand the story of Lockhart and Caldwell County, they will stay here longer. There is a piece of your story right there. As important as the heritage travelers are to the economy here in Lockhart, I think there's something that is even more important. Now, this log cabin here that is behind me is critical to the education of our young people here in Lockhart, and we have some here with us today. They need to know from whence they've come. They need to be proud to live in a city and a county that was settled by courageous pioneers such as Andrew Lee Brock. I know his descendants are proud of him. Look at all that are here today. Maybe his story will inspire our young people, and maybe they'll pick up the baton and do what they can do to make this place a better place in the future. Mayor Angie, thank you for the city's help, all that you have done with the Brock Log Cabin. We appreciate that. And you can tell I'm a little partial to your town here, not just because my dad, Joe, lives here or near here, but because Lockhart is one of those places that has a great history. Historical markers like this, you know, they don't just happen. And I'd like to thank those members of the Caldwell County Historical Commission who were integral in making this happen today. You know, at the Historical Commission, at the Texas Historical Commission, we can't do what we do without the County Historical Commissions, and we thank you. I can't think of a better commission than the one here in Caldwell County. And lastly, I want to thank Rhonda Reagan and the members of the Friends of the Brock Cabin group. Boy, you talk about on-the-ground fundraising, you talk about people passionately involved with their historic sites and the history that they have. You wouldn't find a better group than that. Thank you for all of the work that you have done, that your group has done there, Rhonda. And let me urge you, though, and all of you who are here today, don't stop here. It is great to have the historical marker, but restore the cabin. Complete the story of this great place in a great state, Texas. Thank you.